All right. So the recording is started. And that's the cue for my phone to start. Hold on a minute. Okay. All right. Got it worked out. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. First, I want to say welcome to this evening. This is the beginning of your summer college experience. I'm Wendy Fringer. I'm the Director of Pre-College Programs. And what we're going to talk about tonight is some of the things that you need to know before you get here. What is life going to be like here? What can you expect in terms of daily schedules, how you're going to eat, what's it going to be like on the weekends when there's no classes? All that kind of stuff is the kind of thing we're going to go over today. And then hopefully when you get here, when we have our additional orientation, you'll get a little bit more of the granular stuff, the real in the weeds, like I need to know how to do this now because I'm here. We'll get into those things when you arrive. Right now on your screen, you see our social platforms. So if you've got parents on the line and they're hoping they're going to see pictures of you this summer, this is where they're going to find them. But right now, it's a good idea to follow these because we put reminders on the social media sites sometimes. Like this event tonight, we had reminders about looking in the hub for the dates and times for it. So it's a good thing to keep an eye on it before you arrive. Also, I can never say too often, check your email. I know Miss Kathy completely will appreciate that reminder because she sends a lot of emails and it saves her time if people actually read them. So, all right. So to get started tonight, I'm going to start with just an overview of what our programs are like and about daily life and that kind of stuff. And then we're going to get into some of the details of, what you might expect if you need a shuttle, for example, from the airport, or how to request a leave. How do you deal with things like food allergies? And we'll talk too about some of the key rules that we have here, just so that you can start planning ahead and understand a little bit about how our community works. So for starters, what is this community called Summer College? We're here at the University of Mississippi. We host across all of our programs in summer close to 1,000 students, maybe more actually this year. We host a lot of things going on. And so by joining Summer College, you're part of a larger group of pre-college students who are coming to the university to improve their academics or to gain enriching experiences, to try on college and see what it's like. In the summer college community itself, you're going to see many different programs referenced. So summer college is a big, broad umbrella, but within it, we have a lot of other things. You'll meet students who are in the Lot Leadership program. This is a program that helps students who are interested in leadership. It's not a particular discipline, per se. It's not like biology, for example. These are students who want to study leadership. And so they take classes about leadership. They go to Washington, D.C. and meet with political leaders. And so that's one group of students you're going to see. Another group of students you might see this summer, students in our summer language institutes. And you'll also see the Star Talk program students around. These are students who sometimes share activities with you, but may not as well. Most of the Summer Language Institute students are in Chinese and Arabic. They'll be here in the July session. So they may not overlap with you for most of you. But as I said, we will have some who are in another Chinese program that's shorter. You'll also see students in summer college who may be in a different academic track than you. So you may have students who are in the Ed Start track studying education, or students in the building community in the Delta track who are talking about economic development and sociology and kind of the big questions about how do we shape our communities for the future. There are lots of other tracks. The arts are another big one for us, but they're all under this umbrella of summer college. And another group of students you'll see is students in our Rebel Research programs, in Arise, in the Tanner Lab, etc. These are students who are getting credit, dual credit, just like everybody else in summer college. They're getting college credit for what they do, but they're going to labs instead of going to classes. They're doing experiments. I can tell you they do a lot of washing of things in the labs. There's a lot of scrubbing glassware, but those are the other kind of programs that we have with us. So you will be part of this rich community of people. And while you may have all these different interests and plans for your futures, what you share in common is that you decided to spend a whole month of your summer doing something challenging. So I want to bring that to your attention. You can benefit from all of this mix of interests and experiences around you if you get to know these students who are in these other tracks. And that is the best way to do summer college, I can promise you. You do at least, like I said, have in common that you decided to show up, which a lot of your peers didn't. And that says something valuable about you. Who else will be there? We have our summer staff. This is a really remarkable group of students. They are undergraduates and graduates on our students on our campus. They tend to be high flyers academically, but also socially. They're often leading clubs in student government, representing the campus in various ways out in the community, doing internships. They're a great bunch, and they have so much experience that can be used for your benefit if you get to know them. They are the ones who will be making sure that you're where you're supposed to be at night when there's curfew, but they're also the ones who throw parties and do all these other kind of fun things with you. So this is our fabulous summer staff that you'll be getting to know in just a couple of weeks here. So what is summer college itself? Oh, I should have said this. I deleted the slide on this and forgot to. The other people that you're going to know are the people on this call, Ms. Kathy, Ms. Ari. We are your staff, and there's others too for pre-college. We work here year round. And in the summer, Ari and I are on call 24/7. We are the ones making sure that the lights stay on in the residence hall. When there's a fire alarm, you get back in there. The ones making sure that you're in your classes. The ones making sure that if your laptop breaks and you need a replacement, we'll help you solve that problem. We're here for you. And we've been at this a long time. So this work is really deeply important to us personally, and we're here to be resources. I'll introduce Ms. Ari a little bit later on, but just know that we're minding the chat. So if you have questions while we're talking, don't wait to the end. Just pop them in the chat while we're going, and either Ms. Kathy or Ms. Ari will answer it for you, because they both know a lot of things, being so close to these programs. So what is summer college itself? What does it entail? Well, first of all, you should know that summer college is a lot more than just the classes you take. Yes, you get dual credit for these classes, and that's fantastic. But the whole experience, anyone can do dual credit, right? That's easy. But summer college is called summer college because it simulates a college experience with some guardrails, of course. We hope that you will consider it as a step toward that adult moment when you leave high school graduation and you enter the world of college, and take that seriously, this opportunity. A few things that I want to highlight. This is a good time to start trying on new ways of being. If you've always been a procrastinator, or if you have terrible study skills, or if you're just kind of shy, or maybe you always dominate the room, maybe you talk and fill up the space and nobody else gets to speak, whatever. You have habits. We all enter with those things. Maybe you're just not really good at remembering tasks that you have to do and you just kind of forgetful. That was always my thing when I was younger. We really encourage you to take this as an opportunity to begin to try on new ways of being and form new habits. Think about yourself critically, set some goals for yourself, and enter the summer prepared to try and do things differently. You might surprise yourself with the benefits of that. Another thing that is a big part of summer college is just the way that you get to expand your social world. I mentioned before that you're going to have all these people around you, close to 100 in just summer college alone, and then we'll have other programs living with us as well. You will have all these folks around you. Get to know them. Sometimes we have fantastic new international games that are introduced in summer college. One year people were building giant houses of cards. People teach each other soccer who've never played soccer before. There's just all these different ways in which expanding your social world through summer college can surprise you in the things you learn about yourself, not just about others. There's also the vertical dimension to that too, right? Look for mentors while you're here. I mentioned our summer staff, but you can also look at your professors. You can talk to the writing center consultants, all these other folks, our staff. who are here to mentor you, and may know things that would be of use to you as you're making decisions about what happens next in life. Another big piece of summer college is attending co-curricular events. So these happen in the evenings or the late afternoons. They are 4 times a week, and then there's also some recreational stuff you can do in addition. But our co-curriculum is intended to help you experience the kinds of things college students do. Now, it's required, which college students have less of that that's required. It depends on the program. But we do it as a required feature because we know that it'll benefit you. And that's what our peers in pre-college do. We have all found that it works better that way. In Stanford and Brown, we all kind of borrow ideas from each other. And so we've created these events to really showcase what college has to offer on a number of dimensions, not just academic. We'll speak more about that in a minute. And the final thing is learn campus. Every college has some core elements that are similar to it. Explore our campus, get to know what college is like. Go in the library and see what a college like. It's very, very different from what high school libraries are like. So go explore, open doors, find new things while you're here with us. All right. Daily life. So a day in the life of a summer college student goes something like this. You get up, maybe you go to breakfast, maybe you don't, depends on who you are. We have a dining hall where you can get a variety of different options right there in the residence hall itself. You go downstairs, smells like eggs in the morning. It's so nice. There's orange juice and coffee, all different things down there to choose from in a buffet style. But a lot of students just skip that, go directly to class. Some students will choose to go to the rec center and work out. As a summer college student, you can just swipe right in with your ID card and off you go. You can jog in the morning if you want. Your courses are just one part of your day though. You'll have two, and they may be one in the morning and one in the afternoon, or it might be two in the morning. It just depends. You'll get your schedule when you get here. In the evenings, as I mentioned, there'll be the co-curricular events. You'll have a schedule of these you're given beforehand, and then every week we send out reminders. Here's what's coming up. And we'll say more about that in a minute, but there's no chance that you won't know where you're supposed to be when that happens in the afternoon, the evening. Another thing you might do is relax. That's part of a healthy life, right? So in summer college, you're not only in classes and only doing co-curriculum, you'll have time to choose to do what you want. That might include studying, it should. But you also might be doing other things like, you know, play a pickup game of basketball somewhere or run down on the tennis courts, or you might, you know, decide that you want to watch a movie with a bunch of friends, whatever. There's a lot of things like that that are unstructured and left to you. We have games and sports equipment and stuff. And then there's also recreation we organize. We have parties like a color run and glow party usually, all different kinds of things. I think I heard this year there's going to be some line dancing, spontaneous karaoke nights that happen. So there's recreation. Don't worry, it's not boring. And I can't say this enough. Do not go home on the weekend unless you really have to. I understand if you have to work, that's a different story. But if it's just that your mom misses you, I would encourage you to say, Mom, I'll tell you all the stories when I get home. Also, we could FaceTime if you need. But you don't want to miss the social moments, even though, and I've been there, trust me. Sometimes that first weekend is a little uncomfortable. You've only got a few people you know, you're still figuring it out. And the urge can be, I'll just go home, do my laundry there. Stay on campus. Move through that awkwardness. It is good for you. You will form more meaningful relationships, and those relationships will deepen the whole experience for you, even the academic piece. So I really encourage you to do that. And plus, a lot of you are going to go to residential schools, right? You're going to go to college. You're not going to live in your mom's house in college. Learning how to sit with like that whole social transition now when it's just a month long, that's a great gift. That is a good idea to practice those skills now. And like I said, you're with us. We'll take care of you. We'll keep it fun. We'll take you to Walmart to get the ice cream that you need to get and whatnot. You're gonna be well set. So that's life in the residence hall. You will have common spaces where you can relax with friends. You'll get to know other spots on campus that you like to do that too, but it's our home. Our programs are the only ones in that residence hall all summer long. So it's going to be our home. It's going to be your home while you're with us. And if you haven't looked in the hub to see the picture, you can see what it looks like there. So how do things work? Again, we'll go into more detail when you get here. But just generally, you'll have a meal plan that's on an ID. That ID, that's why you had to send in that headshot to Miss Kathy. That ID is your access to the residence hall. It's your access to meals. And your meal plan covers about 46 or so meals for the whole month. Now, if you just did the math, you're going, that is not 2 meals or 3 meals a day. How am I going to survive? Well, we do a couple of other things. For one, you will have additional money on that card that is not just for meal plans. It can be used to buy meals on campus. Maybe you want to pick up something at the Starbucks or whatever. But it can also be used to do your laundry. And then on top of all that, we also cater a lot of meals. So there will be events where there's breakfast or there's dinners. We'll take you to the square. You might want to get yourself something on the square on the weekend just for a change of pace. And you decide you want to get some Ajax, they got good catfish and whatever. There's all kinds of options. So you will have a meal plan that covers some of your food needs, plus some other things that we do. And I would add too, a lot of students don't use breakfast, or they like to buy snacks for the middle of the day, maybe for lunch. And you'll have opportunities to go to Walmart and kind of stock up. You have a fridge in your room, you can do that. ID card I mentioned, that gets you into the meals, that gets you into your residence hall in your room. It also gets you into the rec center. And I mentioned that before. We have the Turner Center where there's a pool inside, there's exercise equipment. And so we'll take you there. Or you can go on your own, actually, you can walk by foot. We have another rec center on campus too. It's a little off campus, so we'll have to drive you there. But when you go there, you can use your ID, and we'll have things like a rock climbing wall. There's basketball courts, all kinds of stuff there too. So you'll get to see all of this, and your ID is very important. Health. Some of you may have allergies, or you may have food sensitivities. If you do, there should be options enough in the dining hall to cover all of that. They have a gluten-free station and stuff like that. But if not, you just let us know. We'll talk to the chef, we'll figure it out together. Other health issues that may arise, spontaneously, right? Like maybe you get a fever. We have a student health center on campus that you can use. You don't even need us to go. You can just walk over there. But if you want us to go with you, we'll absolutely go with you. Other things might happen that are more serious than that, or they might be after hours. We have urgent cares that are really close to campus, and we'll drive you there, okay? And we'll make sure that all along the way, we're talking to your family, we're letting them know, here's what we're doing, here's what's happening. So your parents can be in a position to help make decisions about your health care. And we have an emergency room too, right? A hospital that's just like 10 minutes from campus. So that's not hard to get to either. But none of you are going to have emergencies. This is going to be an ER-free summer, right? Just tell me that. That's what I need to hear. Okay, we're going to be good. Final things about life on campus. Attending class, super important. I can't stress that. This is your college career. It's your college transcript. Okay. College professors are not going to hunt you down and go, now, honey, why didn't you come to class? You didn't show up. That's fine. You don't get the grade, right? If you don't show up to work, you don't get paid, right? If you don't show up to college, you don't get the grades. You don't get credit, or you get an F. And then you squandered the scholarship we gave you, and then that's a whole nother conversation that you don't want to have with me. But it's really, really important that you take attendance seriously. You arrive at class on time. It is expected, again, just like at work, that you will be on time. You'll be prepared to learn. You'll have a notebook. You'll have paper, a pen. You're not just showing up like you just wandered out of bed, like, all right, do the thing. Like, this is not that kind of space. And sometimes that's different. High schools have to accept you no matter how you arrive, but college doesn't. So make sure that you are going to present your best professional self in those spaces. That also means no earbuds in while you're in class. Okay, that's rude. Don't do it. And you really shouldn't be on your phone unless your professor says, pull out your phone and do something like that. If you're on your laptop, you should be taking notes, not, shopping. So all those things I just want to point out, because the expectations in college are that you're going to be a young adult. Then they're not going to manage your behavior for you. And I think I'm probably preaching to the choir here. Everybody who applied to do this is already serious about their academics. So hopefully none of this needs to be said, but in case it needs to be said, and somebody out there needs to hear it, I'm saying it, all right? Other things, there's so much more. You will have opportunities to shop. We'll do field trips. We'll go some trips around town and around the state sometimes. Church is an option if you like to attend. You can let us know. We'll do a survey every week, and we'll speak about that in a minute. But you can always let us know, and we have some walkable institutions within the campus district, so that you can definitely take care of that on Sundays. Exercise, you're encouraged to jog and bike around campus. It's good for you, and use the rec center. And there's so much more. And you'll find out more about that when you get here. Just know there's so much more than classes. You're not going to be bored. Okay, so to that end, I'm going to ask Ms. Ari to speak a little bit right now about the co-curriculum that we mentioned earlier. This is the part that's required, and you do it 4 times a week, but it offers you kind of a snapshot of various aspects of college life and your personal development. So, Ms. Ari?
Hello, everyone. Wendy already mentioned the type of program that summer college is. So we are trying not only to give you the academic portion or the academic knowledge, but also we are trying really hard to give you the skills and to give you all the necessary tools that you will need to be ready for college. So we have different type of activities throughout the summer. Some of them are academic, some of them are physical and take care of your mental health, your physical health. Some others are just to get social, get to know people. Others are just to relax, chill, and enjoy the moment. And some others, you will have the chance also to do some voluntary work. So as we mentioned before, there is a system that we use for you to register for all these activities. So from Monday through Friday, from Monday through Thursday, all those activities are mandatory. They are actually part of your scholarship. So some days you will have options, and some others you won't have an option. There's only going to be one activity for everybody, and that means that you need to attend. Whenever you have an option, you will receive every Sunday, you will receive a link in our communications platform. So you will have a couple of days to think about the activities and to think what you're going to do, and you fill that up. So you choose the different options each day, but there's the days when you have options, you have to choose one. Including activities during Saturday, and Sunday as well, including the options that we have for you to attend religious service. It is important for you to commit and for you to take this reservation seriously. And the reason is because sometimes we have minimums. For example, we visit places on campus that they are not offered to regular visitors, but researchers or people working for that office, they have a minimum and they also have a maximum. So if you say that you're going to do an activity and you register for that activity, and then at last minute you say, oh, I have something else to do. So 2 things are happening. Number one, you're not going to attend to that, and you're not probably going to have another option to do that day for a mandatory event. But at the same time, you might be taking that opportunity for other person who really wanted to go to that activity. You're taking that opportunity away. So if you commit, honor that commitment. Some other times we cater food, and we order food based on the registrations. And then last minute, people say that they are not going to go. And then all that food that we order is wasted. So that's why we give you a couple of days to check your agenda, check all the activities that you have to do, and then commit to those registrations. During Saturday, Sunday, and Friday, Wendy mentioned about the different activities that happen. during weekends, we strongly suggest that you take advantage of all those things. Sometimes you need a quiet time. It's okay to be bored. Um, it's okay to not to have a lot of things to do, or just to chill and sit down and enjoy the moment. You will have those times. It is important for you to plan your days, plan your weeks, and we're going to help you throughout the summer. One thing that we would like you to accomplish by the end of the summer is that you have a better hold on your time management, because that is something that you will have to do, and probably you will struggle the very first year of your academic life in college. So we are trying very hard for you to get this done and handle your time, and take advantage of everything. You're going to have fun as much as you are willing to have fun, and you're going to learn as much as you're willing to learn. So this is you and your choices, and the type of experience that you want to have with us.
Thank you so much, Ms. Ari. Appreciate that. So now we're gonna finish up by talking about a few more things. If you have questions, continue to throw those in the chat. We're gonna talk a little bit now about just the kind of community we have in Summer College and what we do to maintain that community. What you see in front of you is an abbreviated version of the University of Mississippi Creed. These are the values that inform us as employees of the university. It's the values that inform our students. These are the ways in which we judge our actions and determine what's appropriate and what's not, what's for the good of the community and what's not. A few things here that are of critical importance for all of us, because we're going to live closely together for a month. Respecting all people. That's where it starts. It's kind of fundamental. It's what you learned in kindergarten, right? Each person deserves to be respected. And anything that you do that is not respectful has no place in our community, right? Of course, it's possible to disagree with people respectfully, all those kinds of things with civility, right? So it doesn't mean, being respectful doesn't mean like we all agree all the time and we're singing Kumbaya. But at the very least, we're always respectful, and we treat people with generosity as much as we can, generosity of spirit. We'll speak more about that when you get here and what that looks like. Integrity is important. In college, if you don't do your own work, there are consequences for that, right? At the very least, the consequence is you didn't learn the thing you were supposed to learn because you didn't do your own work. You lied and misrepresented somebody else's work or misrepresented ChatGPT's work. So at the very least, it's a personal cost to you because it's a poor character choice. And you also miss out on the learning that you should have had. But there are other consequences too. When you misrepresent work or cheat in college, a lot of times the consequence is just you fail. There's no, you can do this over again. It's you've broken trust, and so now you fail. No other chances. And that's just a life lesson, right? You know, as a doctor, you don't show up to work and one day be like, I'm gonna do things wrong today, but you're gonna forgive me, let me redo. No, you got to do your best every single day, with integrity and honesty. And there are consequences in the real world for not having those things in your professional behavior in any job, right? So this is very much the case in college. And so I say this just because sometimes, in my experience, I've taught freshmen for years, students arrive with habits that are not so good from high school. Maybe their teachers are so busy they haven't bothered to notice, or they haven't been able to, they haven't had the time. But college professors generally will notice. I can tell you, we joke all the time. My husband and I are always trading ChatGPT things. ChatGPT is pretty easy to pick up on. It's not hard. And other kinds of things like that. And it's not just that. There's other ways to cheat that tend to be pretty obvious. So do your own work, benefit personally and academically from that. And if you're ever uncertain, sometimes it's not clear, right? So sometimes maybe you're citing a source and you're not sure how to do it exactly, or you're like, I'm paraphrasing them kind of, but do I have to cite them for that? It's kind of a common idea. Ask your professors. They'll help you navigate this kind of thing. They're there to help you. All right. The other thing I'm going to note on this screen, there's other things, but good stewardship. We are using a really nice residence hall on campus. We get it, not other people, because housing knows that we are good stewards of it. We take care of the equipment there. We take care of the space. We keep it clean, and we don't misuse it. So we ask that you do that too. And that goes for the whole campus, really. You know, if you see a fountain, don't jump in it, because I'll get a call from somebody later in the day because they'll know. We got cameras everywhere and they'll identify you and then they'll track me down. Don't take HDMI cables that aren't yours from the televisions on campus, you know, things like that. That's not good stewardship. So please be a good steward of that. And like I said before, attend class. That is being a steward of the university's tuition resources. Everybody on this call gets a tuition scholarship that covers your classes. Not all of you are getting like book and rooms and meals and stuff, but all of you in late, at least your classes are covered themselves. And that's a gift. I can tell you, I do the budgets. That's a lot that the university is giving you. So be a good steward of that and take your academic journey here seriously. Make the most of it. Okay. A few things in addition to the ones I already highlighted. It's very important that you keep our halls safe. That means you don't let people in who don't belong there. Only us, our staff, and you can swipe in, and housing staff. Nobody else should be going in there, so you can't let your big brother who lives on campus come visit you in the residence hall. I mean, you can visit outside, that's fine, but nobody comes in or out who's not our people. And also don't leave things lying around. I always forget to say that. It's our space, but you know, don't leave your laptop where somebody's gonna sit on it. You know, take good care of your things, and then everybody else will take good care of theirs. It's so important. This piece, a place where everyone belongs. You'll hear me hit it again when you get here, but everyone needs to feel safe here. Everyone needs to feel like this is their home. You may take risks sometimes with what you say in class. And you may worry, did I offend somebody? This idea, that's okay. But at the very least, everyone should know that they're respected and that they can expect to be treated decently as human beings. If you don't think you can do that, then you don't belong here. I will say a little bit more about that when you get here, but we're pretty serious here about the way you speak, the way you act. We'll take you at your word. And if that's who you are and it's not appropriate to the kind of community we're trying to foster, then maybe you go home. All right. And again, I'll say more about that when you get here, but just know we expect people to be respectful and kind to one another here. And mostly that's what happens, honestly. You're all going to be crying and hugging each other on the last days of the month. It'll go by really fast. Focusing on growth and all dimensions. Ari mentioned the co-curriculum. Embrace that, right? Just because one night is mostly focused on, for example, special centers on campus, and you're like, I don't know if any of these are interesting to me. I don't care. Go in and learn what you can learn from them. You live in the world. It is a global world. There's a lot to know out there. And any time that you have an experience to gain knowledge, an opportunity to gain knowledge, don't waste it. Because in your lifetime, you are going to need a whole bunch of knowledge, not just a narrow set. Okay. And that's what we're trying to give you. And finally, spend some time reflecting while you're here. Take some quiet time to think about yourself and about your life while you're outside of your usual routines. You'll find that there's great benefits to that. Big rules. I mentioned about visitors in the residence hall, not allowed. They can visit you on campus, that's fine. They want to have a picnic with you in the Grove, good. But they may not come in the residence hall. And so you cannot violate that. If, for example, you cross over from one side of the residence hall to the other, so we have a side that's for males and a side for females, that is a big rule violation. And these things, by the way, are in your guidelines that you guys signed off on, your rules, but you can't cross from one side to the other. You won't be able to with your IDs. And if you do that, that means that you broke the rule and probably somebody else did too. Again, that's the kind of thing that can get you sent home because it's about security and keeping everybody safe. We like to know everybody's where they're supposed to be. Don't leave campus. Unless you're with one of us. We have excursions off campus where we take the bus, we take vans, we walk, but you'll never leave campus on your own 2 feet without an adult with you, unless you have completed a leave form. And I'll speak to that again in a minute. Building curfew is at 10 o'clock. So you're in the building by 10 and you'll be in your rooms by 10:30. Again, this is a safety measure. We just want to make sure we know that everybody's where they should be, but also that you're getting enough rest. Because honestly, college is tiring. You're gonna need to sleep. And most of y'all are getting up, fairly early, maybe not as early as usual, but you're gonna need to know. So definitely keep in mind the curfew and that expectation that you're in your room by 10:30. I don't go to bed till I know that everybody is in exactly the spot that they're supposed to be. Neither does Ari. It's a long summer. Substances are not allowed on campus, illegal substances of various kinds. So that includes tobacco and vaping, by the way, not allowed on our campus for anybody, but especially you guys. Having any kind of controlled substance like that is grounds for dismissal from the program. That's an easy one. Call your family, they come get you at my office, we're done. If you have medicine that you take for a medical condition, you'll check that in with our staff when you get here. Unless it's like an inhaler that you have to have with you, we will keep that because we're required by university policy to do so. And the final thing, don't miss class. As I mentioned, there are consequences for that. Do not do it. Finally, you're going to have lots of resources around you to help you succeed. You will have like the summer staff available, the community leaders, if you need tutoring for something, or you just need advice on how to study, they're your best go-tos. Your professors, they will meet with you outside of class if you want. They'll meet in their office hours. They'll tell you about that. But I encourage you to take them up on it. Even if you just have a small question and it only takes you a few minutes to answer it, go to those office hours. That is a great way to build relationship, and you never know, these folks might be writing you recommendations one day. So it's a good idea to do that. Ms. Ari mentioned that we use a platform to push out information and to get you to RSVP. We use Discord. Many of you may be familiar with Discord. Our Discord server is like very protected. There's not a whole lot you can do in there that like sending pictures, things like that, because it's really just for professional communication. It's for you to let us know, hey, I forgot what's happening at 4 o'clock tonight, help, or my roommate's throwing up and it's the middle of the night, somebody please come help us, whatever. That's what the Discord is for. Blackboard is what most of your professors will use to host their syllabi and other class materials, just like Canvas and other tools like that. Find mentors on campus. You might find them in our staff, but look beyond that too. And if you, for example, have a burning passion to learn more about a program on campus that you don't see in our co-curriculum, let us know. We'll try to set you up with a conversation with somebody. And the final thing is be really attentive to yourself. You are probably your own best resource. You're where it all starts. Pay attention to how you're feeling. Are you eating well enough? Are you sleeping well enough? Are you, maybe a little homesick? Pay attention to those things so that when you feel uneasy or whatever, you know what the source is, and then you know what action to take to address that. All right, so the next steps, you're gonna pack. We have a packing list in your hub. If you look at the 411, it has a list of things you might want to bring. Don't forget those comfy shoes. But yeah, go ahead and start doing that now so you figure out what you might be missing. We encourage laptops, by the way. There's just a lot of typing involved in college. You're going to move in. I think Ms. Ari reminded you guys to do the residential life survey. You're going to do that to indicate what your roommate preferences might be, so we understand kind of who you are and whether you like to leave the lights on when you sleep, that kind of stuff. But you also will indicate to us when you plan to move in. It's important that you move in during our scheduled move-in windows, so we have people available to help you. We will remind you before you move in of what time you chose, but go ahead and let us know so we can plan our staffing around that. You'll also, when you get here, check and make sure that your ID is working, your email's working, your access to other kind of campus information services and things, the Wi-Fi, all of that is working when you get here. And then we'll also share with you what books you're needing. A lot of times Ms. Kathy will send those out beforehand, but when you get here, you'll also have the opportunity to use our campus bookstore to get the books you need. And that's it. I've been talking all day, folks. I'm amazed I still have a voice. What questions do you have for us? How can we help? You're welcome to just drop it in the chat or just shout it out if you want. All right, sorry. What do Sundays? All right, we know about roommates. So you'll find out about roommate pairings when you arrive. You'll get a little card that kind of tells you like, here's some things you need to know. Here's your roommate. And then you'll go to your room, you'll see your names are on the door. And that's when you'll see your roommate. And this is kind of how colleges do in some cases. Some of them let people pick, but there's a movement now away from that to do more like what we're doing, where we do a survey. It helps to get to know a stranger in this context. It's a good practice. And we do our best to make sure that you're with someone who's gonna, you know, like I said, not blast loud music if you're not a loud music person, whatever. The dorms do have shared bathrooms for just you and your roommate, in case that's a thing you're wondering about. Laundry is downstairs, so you'll have access to a laundry room where you can just swipe your card. And you can also reload your card. Maybe your family wants to give you more money on the card to do more laundry or to eat more, you know, fast food on campus or something. They can add money to your card, and we'll share with you how to do that. Sundays, you can have visitors on campus all you want. If you are going to leave campus for some reason, you know, maybe your great aunt that you haven't seen in 5 years is coming to town and she wants to take you to lunch. We get it. You can complete a leave form. The leave form request button is in your hub. Actually, just keep going to that hub. That's where you're going to find your mailing addresses. You're going to find the shuttle request if you're flying in from an airport. All that kind of stuff's in there. But yes, you will find information about all kinds of stuff, including the leave form in there, and when there are leave windows too. You can't just leave any old time because we have to have staff dedicated to doing that. Let's see. Are there, yep, there are fridges in the dorm. We also have little kitchen, like kitchenettes, not really kitchens, but we have kitchenettes on the floors where you can, you know, get some water, use a microwave, that kind of thing. We have little study rooms. Good question. Are the roommates people on the same track? Sometimes they are. It most matters that you're compatible in terms of your living style, because you know, you may be in class together all day, but if one of you is really messy and one of you's not, it's not going to work out well. But it could be someone in the same track, but at the very least, you're all living in the same building. So that person that you want to study with from your class, they'll be just down the hall. In terms of curfew, yep, the curfew is 10 o'clock in the building, 10:30 in your rooms, and no leaving after that. We take that pretty seriously. Some people like to get DoorDash. If you're going to get DoorDash or something, get it before curfew. We don't want to see you telling us you need to go out, stand on the curb at 10:15 in the evening to get that food. Practice space for instruments. This is one of my favorite things about summer college. So you absolutely may practice in the university's practice rooms. We have a music building, it's not far, and they let us use their practice rooms. But one of my favorite things about summer college is people will just practice in any old open green space that they feel like. They'll just stand in the shade and play their instrument. So you'll hear like off in the distance somebody playing the trumpet or something. It's nice. enjoy, you can do that. But yes, you have dedicated practice space in the music building. You just have to stop in and get a key to get into it. The building you're going to be in is the Residential College South. So if you look in your hub, there's even a picture of the Residential College South. Other questions? You guys are on fire. This is good. Is there generally roommates will not be from the same school. We actually try to avoid that. And the reason is because we want you to have something like the college experience where you're kind of having to figure out how to live with a stranger. The nice thing about this is an experiment that only lasts a month, right? When you go to college, it'll be an experiment that lasts a whole year. So learning these skills of how to live with a stranger is a good thing to do in that month. So that's why we try to keep you from being with somebody who you know. But you'll see plenty of each other. Don't worry. What else? Other kinds of questions. Yes, so the date, so you arrive on Memorial Day, that's Monday. So you move in that day and then your classes start the next day. So what you'll do is you'll move in. If you move in the morning, you can then go, have lunch with your family and then, see them off. We'll have a little orientation session for you guys too when you move in that goes into more detail than this on some things. And then in the evening, we'll have a big welcome meal for everybody. That's catered. It's usually something from like Taylor Grocery, which is a local catering service. They do a great job. Sometimes at South Depot, it varies, but we'll have some kind of really nice food. And we'll get you introduced to the community leaders. By the way, every group of summer college students, you'll be grouped into a smaller group of like 10 students or so, and you'll have your own community leaders. These are two undergraduate students or graduate students who are like kind of your designated people for all questions and things. And they'll help you get to know each other a little bit and introduce you to some resources and give you some how-to on like basic student stuff, like how to use Blackboard. The total number of students this session will be around 90. I think July it'll be around 130. But in addition to this program, we'll have other programs of ours on other floors. There'll be 75 students in another program and 40 in another. So there's a lot of different programs housed in this building, just like college, really. Other questions? I'll add to one of the nice things about college is finding cozy spaces that are kind of yours, like where you and your friends like to meet up and play cards, or where you like to socialize, where you like to study. And there's a bunch of beautiful spaces on this campus that'll be all yours because it's a quiet place in the summer. We really kind of own it for at least the academic side of things. What the athletics people do, that's a whole nother story. Class schedules, yep, when you check in, you'll get your class schedules. That first night, your community leaders will show you where the buildings are so that you're not lost on your way to class the next day. That's a part of kind of the standard first evening thing. Other questions? All right, well, it seems like y'all are slowing down. This is good. You've got a lot of questions and we're glad you're curious. If there are other questions that you have, don't be afraid to email us. But remember too, when you get here, we're also going to answer questions. So there'll be a lot of opportunities for that. Somebody did ask how you know